relationships.com off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on amazon.com. You know, if your woman doesn't submit to you, she ain't your woman. Now, I know this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, but if your woman is not submissive to you, I don't give a damn what nationality she is. I don't care if you live together. I don't give a damn if you're black, you're white. I don't give a damn if y'all the same nationality. I don't give a damn where you live at in the world. If your woman is not submissive to you, she ain't your woman. She belongs to the streets. She belongs to her job. She belongs to the pastor at that church she attends on every Sunday. She belongs to her friends that influence her to do dumb shit. She belongs to somebody else, but she doesn't belong to you. And I know this is hard, a harsh truth, and it's something that I had to face about 15 years ago. And it's one of the biggest problems that I had, because I used to think that you had to pander and negotiate and talk women into shit, but all that's bullshit. It really is. And a lot of women will try to run game on guys because a lot of women want guys to protect them in some type of way. If that door fly open, or if some type of danger is coming towards her, she looks. First thing she does is look at the guy that's sitting next to her. So she wants protection, but at the same time, she doesn't want to take instructions from a man. She can't stand a guy telling her what to do. You know, so you can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? Shit, there's some countries like Saudi Arabia and Dubai where women have to submit by law, because those guys are in power. They run shit over there. So, you know, but living here in America, women, they pretty much do submit as they will. They just do what they feel like it. And that's the problem of living in the United States of America. Because women, if a woman does submit to you here, you don't know how long it's going to last. It could be 5 years, 10 years. But it works out well for us fellas, because if she gets out of pocket or does something that's unforgettable, you can get you another bitch. So it's all good. And by that time, in most cases, by the time she stops submitting to you, she's already up in age anyway. She's probably old. She's probably overweight. She probably doesn't look as attractive as she used to be. So sometimes it works out pretty well for some guys that I know. And I've lost friends because of like a lot of women, because they let their wives get up in their ears and tell them shit. And see, here's the deal. A woman should never have the authority to tell a guy what to do. A woman should never wear the pants in the relationship. You know, once a woman once women lead guys around, that's the beginning and the end of society as it is. You know, because women aren't supposed to play that position. They out of line. You know, guys are born to lead. It's guys that's on the front lines. There's no women on no front lines, last I checked. But at the same time, women say, oh, I believe in equality and all that shit. Women can do just as better things as men. That's bullshit. Everyone has their position, and they supposed to play their position. But they want to go against nature And a lot of women, they just want to get treated better than white guys in American society. They just want to take over the whole goddamn thing. They want to dominate guys. That's what that's really all about. It's really all about power. It's not about rights at all. It's not about public policy at all. That's just a game that a lot of women try to play. But there's always exception to the rule. Socially, if you're with a woman and if she doesn't submit to you, she ain't your woman. She belongs to the streets. And that's just how that shit is. She doesn't belong to you. Because if she belonged to you, you wouldn't have to beg for sex or negotiate for sex. You wouldn't have to talk her into doing anything. It just is what it is. I mean, right now, if I go to North Carolina and call up women that I've been knowing for years and say, "Hey, I'm in town, where you at? I want to see you." They'll make time for me. They won't say, "Hey, I'm tired," or "I don't know if I'll be able to make it." No, they'll make time. There's no such thing as "I don't got time." That's bullshit. It really is. It took me a long time to figure this out. And I learned a lot by hanging around a lot of athletes and entertainers when I was in my 20s. And I learned a valuable lesson. They didn't have to negotiate for sex. Can you imagine Michael Jackson, Prince, a lot of these entertainers, they never had to ask for sex. Michael Jackson never had to ask for sex. You think about this for a second. He never had to ask for the pussy. I mean, could you imagine somebody like Prince? He never had to ask for the pussy. Man. So it's who you are more than anything else. So who you are is much more powerful than the doing. That's what I learned over the past 20 years.
Alright. Just got the call, it's going down tonight. It's a lot of goodbyes here tonight. But then I saw the sky and that I like. Here from Cali, I live in the valley. Then you look sexy.
Yo! Yes, sir. It's official. Like a referee with a whistle. Back at you with another episode. And we're going to do like we always do, man. We're going to talk that talk. And we're going to go out and make it happen, man. But that's what we do over here. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on in this crazy world, as usual. Alabama in the house. It's going down, man. Hopefully the new year it's been good to you so far. It's only we're 9 days in. You know what I'm saying? It's been an interesting year so far. I can say that. Very interesting things have happened within the last week, I would say. Last couple of days, really. But hopefully this year is better than last year. And hopefully if things didn't go as well for you last year, learn from it. Try not to make the same mistake again and try to get better. That's all we can do. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to complain about it because nobody cares.
No, 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 no.
And nobody cares about the problems you might have, or if last year didn't go well for you. Nobody really cares. And if you don't believe me, go test it out. Go tell your friends and family about how things are so hard for you and you ain't where you want to be in life, and go tell them. See what they say. See what their response is. I think you'd be surprised. You'd be like, what? They don't love me. Man, you know, some of them might not love you in the way you think. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so wrapped up into what they got going on. They don't really have time to be thinking about you like that. That's just the reality of most people that we know. They're so overwhelmed and so beat down and doing whatever they're doing, their every week or every day routine. They have very little time to even think about anybody outside of themselves, especially if the person doesn't live with them. If the person don't live with them, shit, man, you out of sight, you out of mind. You know what I'm saying? This is partly the reason why people don't call you as much as you would like. You have to call them. And you don't take it personal. It's because in most cases, they're overwhelmed, stressed out. They got so much shit going on and so much problems. And you know the crazy thing is, they cause most of the damn problems. They cause most of the damn problems. Now, maybe they were dealt a bad hand or whatever, or maybe they made some bad decisions a long time ago, a couple years ago, but they're making the shit worse. They making the shit worse, man. So that's why people don't call you as much as you would like. You probably call them. You got to call them, see how they doing. You know what I'm saying? And when you call them, most of the time they'll be surprised. Like, oh, hey, what's up? What's going on, man? Or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know? It ain't because y'all ain't necessarily friends or family or nothing like that. People just overwhelmed, you know? And then sometimes some people, they're ashamed or they don't know what to say. And, you know, it's people go through all type of shit, man. But most of the time, they cause most of the fucking problems. In most cases, you know? And a lot of this has to do with how we were raised. Who raised you? That's the thing. Who raised you? Who raised the women that you're talking to? Whether you're dating this woman or married to this woman, you got to look at who raised them. That's where most of the bad programming comes from. You'd be like, God, that's why she's giving you a hard time about little shit. You'd be like, what the hell? I got other shit. I got other fish to fry. And she's giving me a hard time because I forgot what day her birthday was. Some silly, it'll be some silly shit like that. A birthday ain't came up yet. You know it ain't came up, but you might have just forgot today. You like, God damn, yo. The shit will be here in 6 months. God damn. She giving you a hard time. And you just met her like what, a year ago, some shit like that. And she expect you to remember everything after 12 months about her. I'm like, what? And she making a big deal about it. And you looking like, yo, you need to relax. You know what I'm saying? She giving you a hard time because her daddy or maybe her mom didn't you know, didn't spend an appropriate amount of time with her. Or maybe she missed a few hugs when she was growing up. So now she's taking all her frustrations out on you. She got triggered. She got triggered around her birthday time or any topic dealing with her birthday. So it's that type of shit, you know. But at the end of the day, either she's raised for the streets or she's raised for family. Either she's raised for the streets or she's raised for family. That's it. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, I was raised for family. I was built for family. My whole conditioning, my whole existence was for me to one day grow up and have a family. That's how I was raised, you know. Now, the person I was talking to, on the other hand, she was raised the opposite. She was raised to basically look out for herself, and that's it. She wasn't raised for no family. She doesn't really have a concept of what a family even looks like. You know, because see, her mom was a dope fiend. She had a dope fiend parent. So, you know, everything her mom pretty much taught her was some street shit. You know what I'm saying? See, my parents, let's take my mom. Well, you take both of my parents. They weren't on no street shit. They didn't grow up in the streets. I grew up in a small town where damn near everybody knew each other. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew each other directly or indirectly. And even if they didn't know who you was, they could find out who he was. Because you came from some place and you're related to somebody in this town. So this is the type of town that I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in a town where new people move in every week. No, wasn't like that. You know, you might have new people moving every month, but even that new person was related to somebody that we knew. You know, and that's, you know, some people call that Southern hospitality, whatever. You know, I don't know. You call it whatever you want to call it, but it's still like that to this day. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed very much. Only thing that changed is a lot of old people are dying down back at home. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? But I grew up where it's like, you know, people look out for people. You know, and they don't necessarily have to know you directly, you know, but if you stay in the same neck of the woods that we stay, people will look out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can't help you directly, but they know someone that can. You know what I'm saying? You know, I can go home, and I've done this a couple times. I didn't do it on purpose. I was telling somebody a couple months ago, I said, where I'm from, I can sleep. I can fall asleep at my parents' house with the door open at night. And ain't nobody gonna come in there and rob me or harm me at all. You know what I'm saying? This is where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? yeah, but this is where I'm from, and this who raised me. You know what I'm saying? These are the people that raised me, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, my mom and dad were cool. You know what I'm saying? But they weren't fools either now. My mom used to tell me when I was growing up, when I became a teenager, she used to tell me that, hey, all women ain't alike. All women ain't the same. This came out of the blue too. It wasn't like I was asking, but I think she saw me talking to the young girls in junior high school at the time. And she was saying, all them young girls ain't the same now. You know, she just kept saying that. I think she just wanted me to she wanted that thought to stick in my brain. You know what I'm saying? And then my dad used to tell me, hey, everybody ain't like your mom. Every girl you meet ain't going to be like your mom. And he kept telling me he kept saying that probably hundreds of times. You know what I'm saying? You know, and nobody ever disagreed with him. That's the thing when he said that, because he used to say it in front of anybody. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that knew them or knew us, he'll say everybody ain't like her. Everybody ain't like your mom, son. You know, nobody disagreed ever. I never heard somebody. I never seen some bad facial expression or any of that. You know what I'm saying? Even the worst type of woman, because they're around too. The hoes has always been around. You know, the 304s ain't a new concept. There's always been them type of women around. The only difference is they didn't call them hoes. They call them heifers back then. They call them heifers and loose girls when I was growing up. You know? But even them type of women, they never would say anything bad about my mom or my grandmother. Now of course they disagree with some of the stuff they would say, but they're like, hey, I am who I am, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You know, so my mom and dad knew what time it was. And my grandparents, they knew what time it was. You know what I'm saying? Now, I didn't get a chance to meet my grandparents on my dad's side because they passed away before I was born. But my grandparents on my mom's side, when I was born, they were in the 60s. So my grandparents were always old. I ain't never seen them young. You know what I'm saying? When I was born, my grandmother was 65 and my grandfather was 70. So I ain't never seen them young. Only time I seen them young was in a picture frame or something like that. You know? So that's who raised me, man. And my mom had hella game. Hella game, man. She had a lot of personality. She could walk in a room with everybody looking. So this is who raised me. And my dad was like, he was kind of smooth Casanova type of guy. He was kind of smooth. He didn't really say a lot, but when he spoke, everybody would listen. You know what I'm saying? So these are the people that raised me, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was kind of naive because I kind of thought everybody else's family was similar to mine. But no, no, I was sadly mistaken. Because when I went to college and when I went in the Navy, I was like, shit is different out here. You know, everybody's family ain't like ours. Everybody ain't tight. Everybody ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? Now, ain't no family perfect. And you always gonna have one bad apple in the family. That's just what that is. One bad apple and one drug addict. You know, every family got a drug addict and one bad apple. You know, you might say, well, I ain't got no drug addict in our family. Bullshit. You just don't know they do it. That's all. No. Yeah, your uncle John probably is a drug addict. You probably don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Because he get up and go to work at 5 days a week like normal. Because hey, they'll work for that drug. They'll work for that habit now. Don't get it twisted. You know. But hey, a lot of times the reason why a lot of us have a lot of problems, a lot of roadblocks and setbacks is because a lot of it has to do with how we were raised. A lot of us were set up to fail, whether you know it or agree with it or not. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have a lot of friction like in your body, or it's so hard for you to do something, when you know you should be doing it, it's because of how you were raised. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really comes down to. Really, at the end of the day, do you think someone can overcome the teaching and make a change for the good? Of course. I've done it many times. Bro. They say it takes about 30 days to form a new habit on average. But I think it might take more than that for the average person today, because we have a lot of distractions today, more than ever. But yeah, people can change. The reason why most people have a hard time changing, because they're trying to rely on willpower. Willpower for most people don't work. You know what I'm saying? That don't work. It's kind of like if you're trying to stop drinking, but you still got beer and alcohol in the house, beer and liquor in the house. If you want to stop drinking, you don't buy the liquor and the beer and bring it home. Don't put that shit in the house, because that's going to tempt you, and you're going to be sitting there thinking, hey, I got the willpower, you know, I have enough determination within me not to crack that beer. No, you don't. You're not that strong. You're not. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not. No. Now, let me tell you what happens with a lot of people. And it's kind of the same thing when it comes to changing your diet. What happens when you stop drinking whatever you used to drink, or stop eating what you used to eat after months, years, or whatever? And this is my experience now, because I used to drink. I used to be a big drinker back in the day. What happened is, when I went back I took a sip of Hennessy like a couple years ago, probably like 5 years ago, and that shit was nasty to me. It tastes really bad. And this is 5 years later now. You know what I'm saying? That shit was nasty to me. So that turned me off, and I really didn't want to drink no more Hennessy no more. because that shit tastes bad to me. Now, when it comes to food, same thing. I used to eat pork chop and steak and red meat, basically, all the time. But I realized when I got off that red meat and ate more vegetables and chicken or whatever, or more vegetables, anything green, basically, fruits, vegetables, whatever, right? I realized when I ate that way, I felt better. I had more energy. I just felt better, period. You know, I drank more water. My skin started to clear up. My skin, other people started, I actually started getting comments from other people. They're saying, hey, you have nice skin. And I said, oh, shit. Okay. I could not tell the difference. I couldn't tell the difference. But other people could. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really tell the difference until I took a before and after picture. You know? And then, you know, I started having even some certain parts of my skin started clearing up, you know, started healing up from years ago. But it didn't seem like it would heal up or disappear when I was eating all the red meat. So a couple of years ago, I think somebody had some pork chop, right? And I think I took a bite of that shit, and that shit was nasty. I didn't like it. So that made me not want to eat no pork chop no more. Just like drinking. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is when you stop eating or drinking, whatever that is, for months and years, your body adapts to whatever new habit you might have, or whatever new diet you might have, or whatever new, you might have replaced the alcohol with water or some type of fruity drink. I don't know. But whatever you replace the alcohol with, that tastes better than the alcohol now. And your taste buds change and everything. That's just what our bodies do. It naturally does that. You don't have to really do anything. The only thing you really have to do is just set yourself up to stay away from the things that you don't want to do. That's it. You know? And that takes just a little bit of discipline. That's all. If you can stay away from most things, you won't be in a position, you won't put yourself in a position to keep doing what you really don't want to do, or what you don't think you should be doing. But if you're around whatever you don't want to do all the time, you're going to be tempted. You're going to be tested. It's just kind of like somebody that smokes cigarettes and they want to stop, but they got cartons of cigarettes in the kitchen. I mean, if you got cartons of cigarette in the kitchen, you don't want to throw them away because you paid, what, I don't know, $80 for them. You're probably going to smoke again at some point, because you wake up every day, you see the cigarettes in the kitchen every day. You're trying to rely on your willpower. It don't work that way for most people. Most people, they just don't have that level of discipline. You know what I'm saying? This is why I always say you have to set yourself up to win, not set yourself up to fail, which unfortunately, that's what most people do. They set themselves up to fail, whether they realize it or not. And a lot of times, some people are broken or so broken, they don't even think anything's wrong with them because they've been the way they've been for so long, and the people around them don't say anything because they all want to hurt its feelings. And even some of those people, they're broken as well. I'm doing that now as far as cutting back on drinking. Yeah, and let me tell you why I stopped drinking. Let me tell you why. Now, every once in a while, if I'm at some social event, I might drink a beer or whatever, and that's it, right? But I don't buy 6-packs, 12-packs. I don't go to the bar like I used to, hardly at all. I don't even go to the bar. If I go to the bar, it's to meet somebody. I'm not going to the bar because I want to go by myself and look at the football game. I don't even do none of that shit no more, because I'm too busy working on shit. I'll be doing shit, like 6 days a week, except for Sundays, and even on the Sunday, I'm doing something that's going to help me become a better man. You know what I'm saying? So but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm always looking to do better and do things that that's going to help me become the best I can be. That's how I get down, man. But I stopped drinking because that shit was slowing me down. And I did a test. I did like a test run. Because I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself 60 days to see how much I can get done or how productive I can be versus me drinking like I normally would on average. And I wrote everything down, So I'm sober. I ain't drunk nothing for like 60 days. Not even a beer, not a shot or nothing. I didn't go to the bar. I didn't go to the club. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you know what that means? That means half of the people that I would normally see, I ain't going to be seeing them within that 90 days. Right? So 60 days. So after that 60 days, I realized that I damn near double my production and work, getting things done, working out, just eating better, sleeping better, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I stopped drinking. Just like that. I didn't have to go to no damn, AA meeting or some bullshit like that, whatever. Alcohol, I didn't have to do none of that shit. I didn't have to seek no counseling or nothing like that. I'm not saying that those programs don't have a place, but I didn't have to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? I never thought, at the same time now, I never thought I was addicted to alcohol either. I never thought I was an alcoholic. I never let anything rule my life like that. Alcohol, I don't do drugs, never done drugs. I don't let anything, well, some people say alcohol is a drug. Okay, all right, whatever. But when I say drug, I don't, no cocaine. When I say drugs, I'm talking like cocaine and pills. hard drugs. You know, I never done any of that shit. But I just had enough discipline to quit. Period. You know what I'm saying? I never thought I was an alcoholic. You know, I never thought my drinking was out of control. Now it's been probably a few cases where I might have went too far one night. You know, I had a few hangovers, you know, but it didn't happen all the time. You know what I'm saying? You know, but at the same time, I could drink a lot. I could consume a lot of alcohol. You know what I'm saying? I could, but at the same time, I wasn't like a stumbling drunk, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And plus, being in the military, it's a very stressful and fast environment. And anybody that's been in the military, or maybe you're still in the military, you know what I'm talking about. It's a very stressful and a fast environment. Things happen very quickly. Things change very quickly. And you have to adapt. And that's one thing that we were taught while being in the Navy, that things happen very fast, and there's not a lot of room for mistakes. So that's where a lot of the stresses come from. And plus, I wasn't getting a lot of sleep when I was in the Navy. That's another thing. That's another problem that I had. But it didn't really bother me. It didn't really catch up with me until I got out, you know? And that's when I was like, shit, I gotta, you know, kind of break that routine that I had when I was in there. You know, because you just can't keep living that life. At some point, you're gonna have to I mean, at least I realized after I got out, I was gonna have to create my own little world, my own little social, economic world. You know what I'm saying? My own little social, economic economy. Now, I knew this years ago, even before I knew how to do it, even before I knew how, you know, how I was going to go, even before I knew where I was going to live at. You know, I knew I was going to have to do that because I was used to the structure. I'm used to structure. I'm not used to like just winging it, you know, because like I said, winging it don't work. Willpower don't work by itself for most people. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta like be in a mindset of, if I don't feel like waking up or doing something, you got to put things in place where you got to get up anyway. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, some of us need other people's support, other people's help. You can't just go at it. Well, you shouldn't try to go at it alone. I made that mistake. You know, some of us need people to hold us accountable for certain aspects of things in our life. That's all I'm saying. You know, thinking back, do you wish you would have retired from the military? No, not at all. No, I did my 4 years and I did what I was supposed to do when I got out. You know, now I knew that I wouldn't have been able to do 20 years with how my mentality wasn't there. I probably would have gotten kicked out with probably within another 5 years. I'd probably gotten kicked out. Just my mentality, how things were going at the time. I just wasn't. I rebelled a lot when I was in the military. I didn't really go along with a lot of the protocols and the way of doing things. I rebelled against a lot of that shit. So more than likely, I would have got kicked out. So I did the logical thing, and I just got out after my 4 years, and that was it. You know. But see, I didn't plan on doing 20 years. That wasn't my plan. My plan was to do 4 years. Now, I did think about staying in longer, only if I would have gotten the orders that I wanted. But that didn't happen. So I did the next logical thing and I just got out. And that was it. But if I look back on it, I don't really have no regrets. Now, of course, some things happened while I was in there that I didn't like. And even when I got out, some things happened. I didn't like when I was being processed out. I didn't like how they did my paperwork. I'm not going to get into that, but it was some things that were put into my paperwork I didn't like. I felt like it was unfair. It wasn't true. But I didn't have anybody around me to tell me how to handle situations like that at the time. Because when you're processing out, you're by yourself. When it comes to the Navy, you're by yourself. Ain't nobody around. Because everybody's getting out at the same time. Everybody's getting out at different times. And everybody's living different places. And when you get processed out in the Navy, they try to send you to the closest processing center to where you live, if possible. But in my case, that wasn't possible. I got processed out in San Diego, and I live in South Carolina, so that wasn't possible, at the time or whatever. But usually, they try to have you close to where you live as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I had to fly from Japan to San Diego, and it took me like 7 days to get processed out, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? And I got out early. I got out 6 months early. Only because I had a lot of vacation time. I got out 6 months early. So I used that, and that was planned too. So within that 6 months, I used that time to I drew unemployment. I drew unemployment, baby. No. Yeah, I drew unemployment, baby. And that lady, and I think there was somebody in the process when they was processing me out. There was a lady in the office was like, as soon as you get home, file for unemployment. That's all she said. And she's like, have a nice day. And that was it. I'm like, oh, okay. Damn. And then when I went to the unemployment office, I think and this is when I got a wake-up call. I told the lady, hey, I'm looking for a job and doing the same thing I was doing when I was in the Navy, whatever. And she said, what'd you do when you was in the Navy? Then I told her what I did, and she basically looked at me and said, "Sir, sign these papers out for unemployment." That's all she said. That was it. And I signed the papers out for unemployment, and I started getting checks. Back then, they had checks. They didn't have direct deposit like today. I started getting checks like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and that was it. And like a month later, I applied for a job at Santee Cooper electrical plant. And I got an interview, took a while, probably like 2-3 months later or some shit like that. I got the interview when I was in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida at the time. So I actually had to leave Jacksonville, drive, 5 hours away back home to go to the interview. Turns out they were hiring one person, and I didn't get the job. You know what I'm saying? The interview, it didn't go that well. You know. And that was it. And I was on unemployment for another year and a half. And I was just buying and selling shit. I was buying shit and reselling shit. It could be at the time I was buying clothes and reselling it. I went to like a book auction one time. I bought a bunch of books and resold that shit on eBay. I did that for like 2 years. And then Amazon came about. Probably like 2000. Well, I don't know when Amazon came about, but I knew I found out about Amazon like 2004, 2005. That's when I found out about it, you know. And then I put my books on there, and that shit really took off. And I ran out of books. I sold out of everything. And then somebody told me about YouTube. And I've been on here. This was 2007. And I've been on here ever since. I've had multiple channels about a lot of different things, you know. But before YouTube, I was on MySpace, MySpace.com. I was on MySpace. MySpace was the first website I registered for an account, if I'm not mistaken. It's either MySpace or BlackPlanet.com. It's probably BlackPlanet.com, probably was the first. Well, it was MySpace and Black Planet. Those are the sites I was on in the beginning. And those were the sites that I started meeting people in the beginning. Like, I was always meeting people online. I used to meet women on BlackPlanet.com. But the only thing about Black Planet at the time, and I don't know if I think it's still the same. Every woman that I met on Black Planet, they stayed far away. You know, like 45 minutes to an hour, some shit like that. You know. It was almost never a close trip. I always had to drive, or I met them like halfway point or some shit like that. I I ain't going all the way now. Not the first time. Shit, bitch, you got to drive a little bit now. I ain't coming all the way to your damn house now. But yeah, so this is before Plenty of Fish. I didn't know anything about Plenty of Fish. I don't know when Plenty of Fish came about. But I know I found out about Plenty of Fish like 2007. So I've always met people online, whether it was for business, personal relationships, etc. You know, yeah, the site itself. Well, some sites are worse than others, depending on who you are, your race, your nationality, your location. There's so many different factors that comes into play when it comes to websites, dating websites, apps, etc. There's a lot of different things that come into play. You know, maybe I need to do a whole video about that because I see a lot of people, I hear a lot of people that want to meet people online, but I see they're going about it the wrong way. Like Bumble and Tinder, them shits is kind of outdated. You know, I think Tinder used to be there used to be an app out called Hot or Not. I think the same people might have bought Hot or Not out, a website out, and changed the name to Tinder. It's kind of outdated app, really. But if I look at Tinder today, Hot or Not was just like that 15 years ago. And I met people on there. I met women on there. You know, but the only thing is that they always stayed too far away. The only time I would meet somebody is if I was out of town or in a big city or something like that. But if I'm back home, most of the time I got to drive 45 minutes to an hour to meet some woman. You know, and check this out. Everybody didn't have cell phones like they do now. Like early 2000. This is 20 years ago now. Everybody didn't have cell phones like that. At one period of time, when I was on the highway driving, I didn't have a cell phone. So I had to get these girls' phone number, their home. I had to get their home phone numbers. Because, you know, I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I'm still calling. People still had home phones back then, over 20 years ago. So they had to tell me exactly where they stayed at. So I would say, hey, I'm going to call you when I get to the nearest phone in your town, in your city. If I get lost. That happened a couple times, quite a few times, especially if it's at night. You know what I'm saying? So I had to stop at a payphone because I didn't get a cell phone until like 2002, 2003, when I got a cell phone for the first time. Well, I had a cell phone overseas, but that don't count. That don't work over here. But I didn't get a cell phone in America until 2002, late 2002. So I'm driving around all this time, getting on planes. I ain't got no cell phone. But the person, they know I'm coming because I called them before I left. We made plans ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing all this without a cell phone. So think about what I was doing with the cell phone. Oh my God. When I got a cell phone for the first time, it was like fish in a barrel, man. Shooting fish in the barrel, bro. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't have all these apps and websites back then like they do today. This shit was easy. It still is easy to me. It ain't nothing changed today. Ain't nothing changed. It's just more people online. But you just have to know what to say. Of course, you got to have good pictures. That's a given. But you got to speak. You got to know how to speak their language. Some people say you got to have a mouthpiece. Yeah, all that helps. Cause I done been in some tough situations, boy, where I thought I was gonna go to jail. I talked my way out of that shit. You know, I thought I was going. What? I don't know. You know, shit could have easily went down in certain situations, but I just knew what to say. I always know what to say at any given time, and never, like they always say, never let them see you sweat. You dig? So we need a book on the story of your life. Oh boy, if you heard the story of my life, you would be blown the hell away. You were like, ain't no way you got up out of this. Ain't no way that happened. Black Planet is like hookup central. Yeah, basically. The story of my life. Hey, check this out. The story is still going. It ain't stopped yet. The story has continued. It's still moving. Maybe I don't know. I don't know when I would write a book like that. But if you go to my Patreon, I talk about some of that stuff. I talk about some of that stuff on my Patreon. But there's some stories I haven't told, many of them. You know, there's many stories I've never told, ever, to anybody. Not even to my friends. But my friends, some of the stories, even they wouldn't believe it. Yeah. I always act like you belong there if you need to be there. Yeah. You know what's funny? I've never had any problems with most people. Yeah. The only time I have problems with a guy is if he's a nerd. That's the only time. But for the most part, I don't really had female problems. Not really. I'd have had some miscommunication or whatever, disagreements. But it ain't got crazy. Nobody called the police on me and none of that shit. Nobody tried to kill me or shoot at me. Nothing like that. Because it never escalated like that. Now, it could have in like 2 or 3 cases. But I just knew what to say. I knew how to conduct myself. You know what I'm saying? And see, I'm out in these streets with wolves. And you know, another thing that's been pretty consistent when I used to be out here like that. Street dudes, dope boys, they always respect me. Always. Street dudes, dope boys, they always respect me. You know, I don't necessarily know why. You know, I ain't no street dude. You know what I'm saying? But they always respect me. And one guy one day told me something. He was like, man, you know why I respect you? I said, why, man? Because you're honest. You are who you are. You don't perpetrate. You don't try to be anybody else but yourself. You stand-up guy. That's what I had one guy tell me. And he's the ex-dope boy and everything. You know what I'm saying? But I never had no problems. Even in other countries. Even in other countries, I never had no problem. You know, because I've been around people where I'm like, this dude might be part of the mob or some type of shit like that. I ain't sure, but he kind of suspect. I think he's mob affiliated. But even them dudes respect me. You know what I'm saying? I never had no problem with nobody. Only time I have problems is with the nerdy dudes. Because nerdy dudes don't respect people's boundaries. For the most part, they don't. Only thing they respect is aggression and violence. That's the only thing they respect. You know, they don't respect stand-up guy that straight up tell it how it is. You know what I'm saying? No, those guys get uncomfortable when somebody like me come around. And you want to know why? Because their wife is looking at me, or their girlfriend is looking at me. That's one reason why. And a lot of times these guys are insecure. And you work with a lot of these guys. You at the job with a lot of these guys. They're in charge. They get to dictate who gets hired, who get fired. You know what I'm saying? And they don't hire guys like me at these jobs very often because they know I'll come in and take all the girls. I'm not saying I'm trying to get at the women in there, but the women, a lot of them women will be attracted to me. You know, and that's what a lot of these nerdy guys, they don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? So what usually happens, a lot of the women at these jobs have to play like they ain't attracted to me, to please the boss and the other coworkers and all that stuff or whatever. That happens a lot. So that's why they don't hire guys like me very often. Yeah, you might have one guy might slide through the crack because he'll start acting goofy and docile, and he'll become the funny dude, like a clown. So he'll kind of slide through the crack every once in a while, but eventually he'll get found out too, because he'll slip up just like that coach at Boston. He smashed into what the president's wife. See, he was probably a little docile in the beginning, acting goofy and silly. And as soon as he got comfortable, he started smashing them white women, them white hoes at the job, and he got found out. And now he gone. He ain't no coach no more. You know what I'm saying? But see, I knew this 20 years ago that eventually I was going to have to branch off and make my own way. Because I knew that this job thing, the work environment, was going to get worse eventually. Now, I was smart enough to know this in advance. So I kind of prepared myself 20 years ago. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do to make a living years from now. But I know the job ain't going to be it. I ain't going to be able to depend on my job for my livelihood. You know, I knew this at a young age, 20 years ago. You know, I was smart enough to know because the shit that I was going through and the shit that I saw other guys and gals going through, I can't put up with all that shit, man. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's just way too much, for me to handle. And the way I was raised, you can't talk to me any type of way. Crazy and disrespectful. No. That ain't gonna work. For what? 42,000 a year? 50,000 a year? No. You can't talk to me. No. It ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Now, all money ain't good money. And that's not even a lot of money. 45,000? After you done take taxes, how much you got left? What, 28, 29, 30? After taxes? No, No, I can't do it. No. So I was smart enough to figure that out. And I was also smart enough that I knew that I was going to have to sacrifice in some type of way. Because freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free. You're going to have to sacrifice some way, somehow, if you want to leapfrog ahead of most people. If you want to get out of that working class, that paycheck to paycheck, that, that 9-to-5 trap, like some people like to say, where it's like at the end of the month, you don't got no money left. You got $200-300 left. Or just enough to pay all the bills. Or you don't got no money left. You got credit cards. If anything come up, you got the credit card. Swipe the credit card. I'm like, I got to get out of this shit. This shit is for the birds. I knew 20 years ago, I'm going to have to get out of this. And if you were me, like 25 years ago, what, 20? No, not 25, but I would say 20 years ago, when I got paid, I had what? $10, $20 in my account left. Or maybe before I got my direct deposit, my account was already overdraft. So think about this for a second. At the time, I'm making what? $25 an hour, right? My account is negative 120, 150, 200 at the time. For a lot of different reasons why it happened that way. Because I forgot I had things on auto draft. I forgot I had it on auto draft. I got paid late, all kind of fucking reasons. I can go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, the reason why I was overdraft, because I wasn't making enough damn money. At the end of the day, that's what it was all about. You ain't making enough money. That's why your account overdraft. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really boils down to. Now, some people will say, well, you're spending more than you got coming in. No shit, Sherlock. You know what I'm saying? I knew that. I knew that when I was, when I left the house. I knew that. Shit. Don't take a genius to figure that out. But how do I make more? So I won't have to worry about money going out and coming in. How do I make it so where I don't have to worry about paying the bills? Because I have enough money coming in, more than enough. That was a whole game. That's what I was trying to do, trying to figure out at the time, And I knew that when I got out, over a short amount of time, I wasn't going to be able to use those skills that I used in the military. So I decided to go into in the tech space. That's when I got into computer repair, software, programming, website building, whatever, all of that and some, And this is before I came online, by the way. This is before I came online. Because I've had jobs, tech jobs, long-term, short-term, or whatever, which was cool, but, they didn't last that long. So I'm like, shit, I need money regardless if I have a job or not. And I realized that I got to have multiple streams of income for that shit to work out. Because that's what most rich people are doing. See, I started hanging around the rich people. I'm like, what the hell y'all be doing that I ain't doing? You know what I'm saying? And most rich people have 6 to 7 incomes. So I started doing the same thing they was doing. Now, maybe I ain't making as much as they making. It don't matter. But at least it's coming in. I don't care if $20, 30, 50, 100, 200. This shit's still coming in. I don't care how much it is. You know what I'm saying? So I just kept building on them incomes. It kept getting bigger and bigger. I might lose one and I get another one. After a while, I might lose one, get another one. It kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Until now, you know? And I don't really have to worry about that shit no more. And that's all because I learned some skills I was willing to sacrifice for 5 years. You know, I didn't go to the clubs. I stopped going to the nightclubs. I stopped chasing women. I didn't travel as much as I would have before. What else I stopped doing? I stopped drinking. That was a big one. What's the other one? I started hanging out with my friends. I don't hang out with them very often. Those are the 5 big ones, you know? And that's for 5 years. 7 years. 7 years. And now, it's whatever now. It's whatever now. That's what I mean when I say you got to set yourself up to win. You got to make some type of sacrifice. You can't look. Here's a reality. And your parents probably lied to you. A lot of parents lie to their kids and tell them you can do anything you put your mind to. You can have it all. That's a lie. You can't do anything you want unless you're wealthy. But you can have it all, but you just can't have it all at the same time. Yeah, see, a lot of people's parents lie to them. You can't have it all at the same time. You can't. And you can't do everything you want unless you're wealthy. And some people will say, well, I want to do it all. You can't do it all. In your lifetime, you might be able to do 3 to 5 things. Well, I'm talking like really well, 3 to 5 things. You ain't going to do no 10, 20, 30 different things in your lifetime. There's no fucking way. That's fucking impossible. But see, your parents tell you, because you know they don't want to hurt your feelings. They say, hey, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. No, that don't work that way. No. And then when it doesn't work out for you, you saying shit like, oh, I'm 25 years old, I'm 30 years old, and I ain't where I want to be in life. Yeah, because you were misled and given the wrong information. You know, this is why I started off when I said, who raised you? She was either raised for the streets or raised for family. A lot of times, our parents, and God bless them, they had good intentions, you know, but even some of them, they might have been misled. They might have given you some information where it wasn't the best thing in the world, but they were trying to look out for you. They didn't want you to get hurt. They wanted you to be safe. I understand all that. But it wasn't the best strategy, the best move for you to make to have a leg up in this goddamn society. You know? And I don't know about you, but I realized when I was in my, late 20s, man, ain't nobody coming to save me. I'm out here by my damn self. I'm like, At the time, this is when I got all my money stolen. I'm about what, 30, 32 at the time. When I got my money stolen and car broken in and all that shit, and nobody came to save me, man. I was by my fucking self, bro. And I was like, this shit will never happen to me ever again. And it never did. That never happened to me ever again. I'm never going to be out here by myself and can't get access to no goddamn money. That's never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And nobody, I couldn't really call nobody that could really help me out. I mean, the best I could do is stay at my friend's house in a room until I got my shit straightened out. And that took what? 6 months? 6, 7, 8 months? You know, I don't like staying with people. I don't like staying with people. You know? And that all goes back to how I was raised and who I was spending most of my time around at the time. That's basic. Because I learned a valuable lesson, man, that you're only as strong as the people you have around. You're only as strong as the people you have around, man. You know? And that's why every day I'm always doing something to get better. Every day. Could be physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, whatever. But there's no days off. No days off. You know, not in my world anyway. You have to create your own world. If you don't like how things is going in your circle where you are, you got to create your own little world. That's what I did. Anybody that comes into my world is my life, my game, my show. You know? And that's how it is. And if any woman I meet, or just people I meet in general, if they don't like, you know, what I have going on, well, they can leave. You know, no hard feelings. No big deal. If I meet a woman and she's you know, maybe she's a rebel, or maybe she's combative, I just fall back. No big deal. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to put up with no BS. You know? So, hey, anybody, if you got anything to say, click the link. Otherwise, I'm out of here. You know? Well, yeah, that's how it is, man. You got to run your life like, kind of like a business. Really. You know, that's how it is, man. You know? Then, you know, most people, you know, you gonna probably get called names and all that stuff or whatever. Like, who cares, man? You know. My dad used to tell me, if people aren't talking about you, then you probably ain't doing enough. My dad used to tell me, people aren't talking about you, you probably ain't doing enough. You know, so that just, people talking about you, that just come with the territory, man. No hard feelings. You know, not at all. But you know, you have to realize people have their own programming. Everybody's raised different, you know. But at the end of the day, check this out. With your way of thinking, how's your programming working for you? Is it working? If not, why not? What I'm doing, my shit works. You know what I'm saying? Great conversation tonight. No doubt. Gotta run, but I knew that before and after my parents died. That's good, man. You know. But all right, take it easy, Mike. You know. I always say, hey, people don't have to like what I'm doing, but what about what you're doing? Is it working for you? If not, why not? Why keep doing the same thing if it ain't working? That's insanity. Last I checked. You know, I'm just saying, man. You know, hey, I have conversations like this on Patreon all the time. You know what I'm saying? Just go over there, check it out. You know, some of it you might like, some of it you might not. It's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You know, just like I'm not for everybody. You know, some people might not like me because I'm too, what they say, I'm too raw. I'm too honest. I'm a straight shooter. I get that every once in a while. But you know what you're going to get when you're around me. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what's worked for me, and it's more than likely it'll work for you. Because some things are universal, scientifically proven to be true, and works for most guys. You know, hey, you can listen to there's some other people online or whatever. You don't have to go at it alone. You can, get advice. You can even get advice from some women. Look, there's some women online. I'm not going to name any names. Some of these women I've interviewed in the past on the Love Can't Wait podcast. Some of these women that I have interviewed, and they give good advice for guys, right? They give good advice for guys, but I would say it's the advice they give is kind of limited, though. You know, it's kind of limited. And when I say it's limited, meaning that a woman can give you tips on things you can work on as a man, but she can't tell you how to be a man when it comes to attracting women. A woman can't really put herself into a man's shoes. That's what I mean when I say she's limited. She can give you, hey, you should dress good, look good, smell good, talk good. But she can't really tell you why you should say what you want to say, what she's telling you to say. But because she doesn't really understand the psychology between men and women when you're saying what you're saying. She doesn't understand why it works, why it would work for you, because she ain't a man. That's the thing. She can tell you what to say and what to do, but when a woman shows up, shit goes to hell. Then she won't really know what to say to you. If things go left, I can tell you, I can sit down on the telephone with you or through FaceTime or through video with you, and you can tell me everything that happened on a date with a woman, and I can tell you where you went wrong, right, indifferent, et cetera, et cetera. A woman can't do it. Can't do it. It's because she ain't a man. Heck, some guys can't even do it. It's because they too young, don't have enough life experience. But a woman definitely can do it. The average woman. Now, some of them might think they know how to do it, or they understand. No, the average woman don't know nothing about a man. don't understand guys. They don't understand guys at all. So think about this for a second, and I'm gonna end this episode. The average woman you know right now, whether you work with them, you live with them, your sister, your cousin, the girl at the grocery store, at the gas station, they don't know nothing about a man. Very little. The only women that know a little bit about a man are women that in the underworld, the shadow world, like some guys, some people like to say. Those women, they understand guys down to the science. But the average woman walking around and work a job, she's going to the mall, she's at the store right now, Walmart, Target, or whatever. She don't know nothing about a man. She's damn near clueless. She thinks she knows, but in reality, she don't. I'm out. Peace.